More Game of Thrones talk. The Hedge Knight Writers Room pauses as George R. Martin offers unequivocal support of the Writers Guild Association, saying, "Man, I definitely give support to them, man. Without the writers, there's no show without the writers, man. So shout out to them. They're the lifeblood of creativity when it comes to storytelling." But, anyways, I think that I would hope that the next time a big high fantasy like Game of Thrones is attacked and put on the screen, I would hope that they would have more writers than just like, two. And then obviously what comes to mind is David Benioff and DB Wise. I hope that the next time a big high fantasy is tackled, it put on the big screen, I would hope that it would be like a revolving door of writers. I would just hope it's a revolving door of writers, just like it's a revolving door of directors. They pick different directors to execute different story arcs within the show. You know what I mean? So I hope that that becomes a thing later on. They're like, okay, we think this writer could actually execute this dialogue and this coming episode. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's more of a collaborative, cooperative effort as opposed to two guys trying to take all the credit. You know what I'm saying? Some more Game of Thrones talk. Listen to this. So, these are three main writers, right? And mostly David Benioff and D.B. Wise wrote the latter half of the show, which we all know was terrible because it didn't have George R. R. Martin's touch on it. He said recently that George R. R. Martin says that once they started cranking out more seasons, he had less of an influence on the actual writing, which we all know was a big mistake because he was, George R. R. Martin is the best writer out of these three by a country mile. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close. So it makes sense that the further they went along from his writing, and then the further they went along that with that show, it just was terrible. It got very terrible, and you know I feel like they should have gave it to other writers. I feel like they should have been like, you know what, we're exhausted. Like they were saying, we're exhausted. We want to, you know, do other things. Obviously, uh, they should have gave it to other hungrier writers, man. But it was greed that destroyed this show. It was greed, and they just wanted all the credit. And now you got it. You know what I'm saying? You had a terrible finale. It was absolutely that will go down as the worst ending ever. Get this right. So get this. David Benioff and DB Wise, right? So they quit Game of Thrones, right? Because it was too exhausting. It was this and that. There was too many fans. So there's too many fans. They were getting money too fast. It was just too good. You know what I'm saying? But it was exhausting, right? So it was too exhausting for them. And so these boneheads, their next plan was to have a show called Confederate, where the Confederacy won the Civil War, and then they would have had slavery stretch all the way up until uh, the civil rights era or something. I don't even know. This shit was so stupid. I was like, there ain't no way you guys quit Game of Thrones for that shit. Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, all you had to do was have more writers in the room. Y'all didn't even have to step down. It could have been like some Stan Lee shit, right? Where, Stan Lee made so many of the Marvel characters, and after a time, it got so big that he just went up. He just went up and just oversaw the other writers. That's what they could have done. You know what I'm saying? But they just boneheads, man. Just idiots. That's a dumbass move, man. I mean, damn. I mean, I don't even know. So.